Off the sideline, Henderson with separation, and the flag's going to come in.
He's beat on the play, and he doesn't know where the football is.
Henderson finds the hole. Henderson football
And making first downs.
Harmon's going to keep. Probably the wrong decision. McCord uncorks. It's complete. First down, Ohio State to Avoca.
Looks like bracket coverage on Marvin down here on the right.
McCord steps up over the middle. First down. Julian Fleming with the extra extension. McCord to throw on second down. Another completion, diving grab from Harrison.
Three-man rush.
McCord floats it end zone, caught short.
If you're Notre Dame, you got to be alert for a run here as the last play of the game.
Give it to him, train him up the middle. He's in. Touchdown, Ohio State. They walk it off at Notre Dame Stadium.
This is a tough team right here. We're proud to be from Ohio, and it's always been Ohio against the world, and it'll continue to be Ohio against the world. But I'll tell you what, I love those kids, and we got a tough team.
All right, Buckeyes. And today is a special day because we get another game. Of course, when you look back at the Notre Dame game, there's a lot of things to think about. But sometimes you put all the stats together. You compare the teams. You say this is where we have an advantage. This is where this team has an advantage. Our defense is this and compared to their defense, and they have better this and we have better that. But there's one thing that you can never quantify, and that is heart. And not any quarterback can drive a team straight down the field like Kyle McCord did. And you've seen many teams try it. I mean, even, earlier today, Kansas State was trying to do the same kind of thing, and they couldn't do it. And, our team isn't perfect. We've got a long way to go. But that desire and that willingness to win can go a long way. So the big question is, and I think every team at this point, when they have their moment this season, they're going to ask themselves, is this a team of destiny? There's only one team of destiny each year. So we don't know at this point if we can be a team of destiny. There's a lot of things we have to work on. But at this moment, they do seem like the kind of team that could fill that role. None of us really know. Everybody's going to talk about our offensive deficiencies, how under Ryan Day, we've always had a high scoring offense and this team is a little bit different. But there's so many seasons where we've seen Ohio State driven by defense and our offense did just enough to win games. And we've done that before. And, with the new clock rules, there's a lot of teams actually going to the old style of offense. And part of that's because there's a moment in a game where maybe you just take a lead or maybe you make a stop and you need to run clock. Having the ability to just pound the ball can do that. So my big question is, do we have the toughness? One of the biggest criticisms that we keep hearing from mostly haters, but of course, the team up north's former coach, Josh Gaddis, started the whole thing. Thank you. He called us soft. I want to ask people something. What is Ohio State known for? Have we ever been known as soft? Clemson in 2019 said nobody hit them harder the entire season or previous seasons than the Ohio State Buckeyes. Clemson said that, and they said even though they won that season, that we hurt. It hurt. And I do believe it affected their game against LSU because ultimately they got blown away. we would have been a better matchup for LSU that season because we knew Joe Burrow. That being said, even in losses, teams have said nobody hits harder than us. And that's been a trait of Ohio State for many years in our history. As a matter of fact, even the year when it was in 2020, that horrible season where we almost didn't even have football and we played Alabama in the national championship, Alabama said after the game that we were beating them up physically, even though they beat us on the scoreboard big time. We were missing half of our team that year, but we were still hitting hard and we were still giving strong effort. So the idea that Ohio State's ever been soft is absolutely ridiculous. Now, what we were lacking under Kerry Coombs, we were lacking strategy. We were lacking schematics. That's the problem. And that's been ailing us since Ryan Day took over. But this season, we seem to be taking a step in the right direction. Even last season, there were some signs of it, but we still had some lack of discipline moments. And that was our problem in 2021. Lack of discipline, lack of schematics. It was all in one. I remember that year that against Oregon, we supplemented our entire defensive bench in and out of the game. That means when you make an adjustment, the new players coming in haven't really made that adjustment, so you have to make the adjustment again. And then again, it was a mess. So yes, we had our issues, 2021 especially, but Ohio State has never been soft. We've always had tough physical players, and as long as we have Coach Mick, doing our strength and conditioning in the offseason, we'll never be what's quote-unquote soft. And the idea is ridiculous, and anyone that says that is ignorant to football. That being said, our game against Notre Dame proved our toughness. You don't win a game like that where both teams are pretty much even, unless you're tough. And, a lot of people don't understand what Ryan Day was saying, but what he did was jive with the fans of the Ohio State Buckeyes. He said exactly what we have felt for years, ever since that ESPN contract with the SEC. They've had it seems like, allegedly, they have a bias against us, the Ohio State Buckeyes. And they do whatever they can to move us back. If we play a game closer than, the point spread says we should, they'll move us down. And they'll say, Ohio State struggled with such and such team. Then you'll watch an Alabama game, and it's a 3-point game at the end of the game, and they'll be like, Alabama conquered and won at the end of the game in a glorious fashion. And it's all how they pitch it. So Ryan Day understands how us fans feel. He understands how the players feel. So he said what he said, and it really sent a message to us. But it also sent a message to the team. So people can criticize what Ryan Day did, but it doesn't really matter, because what he did was sent a message to us, and Ohio against the world. We, those of us that live here in Ohio, we understand what that means. It means a lot to the fan base. So it doesn't matter what everybody else says about it. That's what's most important. So yeah, we beat Notre Dame. And we were an inch away from losing. There was all kinds of drama with them having 10 men on the field. Would we have won if there was 11 men on the field? I can't say. It looks like possibly we might not have. But at this point, hey, we got our victory. So what we want to see now is we want to see improvement. And I do believe that Kyle McCord took a step in the right direction. We're not stagnant. Just because our offense is struggling does not mean it won't be better from here forward. Of course, Kyle McCord showed a lot of toughness, and that's the most important thing. He refused to lose. And So when we look at this game against Maryland, Maryland comes in 5-0. We're 4-0 after an off week. We spent this week working on things like our offensive line, how we're going to convert these short yardages. And in a previous video, I had said, why is it that it seems like 3rd and 9 is better for us than 3rd and 1 or 4th and 1? I don't know. It's the strangest thing, but under Ryan Day since 2020, it's been gradually getting a little bit worse, and that's not the way you want to go. So let's hope that they've come up with something because, if we're not going to run a quarterback sneak, we need a play that our offense feels confident they can convert every time, but hopefully quarterback sneak is, in our playbook now. At this point, we'll have more in our playbook than we've had all season. And the coaches will probably trust some of the backup players to come in because we're going to need fresh legs at the end of games. Penn State and Michigan, we absolutely need a rotation so that we don't get tired because we were tired. We had to, our players had to find it within the depths of, of all of their grit to find a way to make those stops. Because if Notre Dame converted one more first down, we were finished. So, so what are we going to do? Are we going to have a rotation? It's obvious that we didn't rotate because the coaches didn't trust the other players. So, if you go back to last year when we played Maryland, Tagovailoa, the younger brother of Tua, Tulia, I think is how you say his name, Tulia. He was doing a lot of damage to us with his legs, and then he would, throw the ball very accurately, with his very strong arm, and it caused us a lot of problems. So a lot of people are asking, why aren't we getting more sacks? I see a lot of people complaining about it, like we should have more sacks. Hey, look, you'll always take a sack, and if you say you won't, you're lying, right? But here's the thing. Ohio State has decided to go for a cage rush, and that's been our strategy. And I think that it's mainly for this game right here as to why we've been doing a cage rush. And the reason that we're doing that is to try and contain quarterbacks so they don't beat us with their legs. And when you had Sam Hartman, I'm sorry, I forget the quarterback from Indiana's name, and you have Tagovailoa, on your schedule, and even Western Kentucky's quarterback was pretty mobile, right? So when you have those guys on your schedule, you want to find a way to contain that. So the cage rush method makes the sack a little bit secondary to making sure that quarterback doesn't escape and damage you in other ways, because that creates more problems. So to sacrifice the statistics of higher sacks, I think I understand why our coaches have went this direction. And we just got to trust that our coaches know what they're doing with the strategy. And I'm sure if we face a less mobile quarterback, maybe like the quarterback of Penn State, I'm not saying he's a statue, but he's not quite as mobile as Tagovailoa. Maybe we'll change that strategy. But right now, we need to trust the coaches that they know what they're doing, because I would rather, with our defensive backs and the way they're playing, I would rather contain that quarterback and keep that from happening than to let them escape, at the risk of play happening, even though we have them covered. So it's tough. It's tough. Strategies vary, and not everybody has the same strategy. And I know you're used to saying, well, we got to get sacks. We got to get sacks. Okay, but sacks are just one statistic. And you got to understand that sometimes there's more important things, especially with speedy wide receivers on the field and speedy running backs. These guys may not be like top-rated skill players, but they can beat you with their speed. Now, we've got speed to match them, but you have to come up with a good enough strategy, and Tagovailoa is the guy that we don't want to let beat us. So let's see how this cage rush works on this guy before we, make judgments on this whole process. But, when you compare statistics, Maryland's offense is one of the better offenses we faced. They haven't had the strongest schedule, but they do have talent. As a matter of fact, last year when Marvin Harrison Jr. was interviewed, this is even after we had played Georgia and Michigan. He said that Maryland actually had the best cornerbacks of any of the teams that they had played all year, which is very interesting. Now, those cornerbacks, the ones he was talking about, have went on to the NFL. But one thing, as we get to the keys of our success in this game, I've noticed that our wide receivers, especially Marvin Harrison Jr., does not do well against man-to-man. Now, zone, he'll shred that all day, and if you try to double team him and he gets behind you, he'll still burn you even if you're trying to double team him. So people have been trying to beat him with man-to-man. And so Marvin Harrison needs to use his hands and do, the typical football hand fighting to get away from that man-to-man strategy. So I want to see if our team improves against that, because he had that problem last year too. And some teams just do what they do. They don't care if that was working. They're confident in their style. But Maryland was doing man-to-man a bit last year, and it was giving us a little bit of trouble. We did find our rhythm on offense, and obviously it was a very close game. But in the first half, especially last season against Maryland, we really struggled. It was really bad. Like, people think, oh, how great our offense was, but that was a struggle game. Iowa was a struggle game. Penn State was a struggle game. And you have to figure out what's beating you and how you can adjust to it. One thing that we need to see more of is beating man-to-man. Teams are going to use that, and I know Maryland's going to try it. They're also going to try some zone, mix in some looks. But when they're running man-to-man, I hope we see improvement. I want to give accolades to the players that really stepped up against Notre Dame. When you really think about it, first off, Kyle McCord, he had a horrible game most of the game. You have to admit, he did not look good. But that last drive showed what he's made of. If that man grows into doing that throughout entire games, we'll see a much different result in our games. So let's look out and see. Did he grow up in that game? Did the game slow down for him? If it did, I believe we'll start scoring more points in our games. And with our defense, if we start scoring more points, I think we have a good shot this year. But, that's what we're going to be looking for. Of course, we won't really know how much has grown until we play Penn State. Penn State's going to be a good barometer where we're at. But yeah, obviously Kyle McCord. Emeka Egbuka really stepped up for us. He made that huge play, 3rd and 19. What are the odds, right? Converting 3rd and 19 in such a dire moment was one of the greatest moments I've seen in history. Normally when we're in that situation, we lose. I've seen it so many times. When we were playing Oregon, even with C.J. Stroud, what happened? We lost. But Kyle McCord really stepped up and zipped that ball to Emeka Egbuka. Of course, Cade Stover, mainly in the first half, had a really good half. They're trying to take away our wide receivers, and by going to other people like Cade Stover and Julian Fleming, it kind of takes them out of that because they have to worry about the whole field. So that strategy worked pretty well. It opened things up. In the first half against Notre Dame, there were signs of our running game looking pretty good. Of course, we've got to watch out for putting teams into a phone booth. I don't think we're quite built that way. We're built for speed. So if we put them in a phone booth, all these bodies in the middle of the field, we're going to struggle every time. So we got to use our strengths. I want to see us run the ball just as much as our team and our coaches do. But the best way to run the ball and be more effective is to use our strengths. Like Henderson, if he gets to, past the main front lines into the second level, I don't know that anyone's catching him. Notre Dame found out. Hopefully Maryland finds out too. But we're going to find out more against Maryland, but mainly against Penn State. So we still have a few weeks to really grow at that. Obviously, Chip Trayanum made the play of the day. He didn't have a great game before that, but I'll take that inch. They say football's a game of inches. Of course, we got to mention Lathan Ransom along with Sonny Styles. Those two made a huge play on fourth down to tackle Sam Hartman, who is a really great quarterback, and he definitely had a lot of heart to his game. But that play was huge, and of course we got a few fourth down stops, and I don't think we would have won if we didn't get those fourth down stops. So hopefully we see more of Sonny Styles on the field. Excuse me for a second. Sorry about that. Hopefully we see more Sonny Styles on the field. Okay, well guys, this game today is at noon, so we got an early kickoff, and we're going to find out a lot about our team coming off of a week off. Hopefully there's tons of improvement, because we need to start looking like mid-season form at this point. We don't need to be looking as raw and as unrefined as we've been looking this year, but you got to give a team time to grow. So Maryland has good offensive numbers. They've been playing very well on defense. They've looked like a solid group. They don't have the athletes that we have, but they do have good discipline this year so far. They did a great job against Indiana last week. So they're going to throw at us our A game, and they're going to be very motivated. This is our chance to show Josh Gaddis that what he said isn't true about our team. And I know that Ryan Day sent that message, but you got to believe that Ohio State is going to come out in this game and show just how much they've grown in the past 2 weeks and from the Notre Dame game. Now, the question is, are we a team of destiny? I can't answer that question now, neither can you. But if we're a team of destiny, we're going to find a way to win, even when it looks ugly. It doesn't have to look pretty. It's just getting that W. And I know fans are used to it looking pretty, but you got to understand, this is football. Not every game needs to look pretty. Okay? So will we continue to do that? If we're put in that situation again, can it happen again? That's how we know if we're a team of destiny. All right, guys. I'm looking forward to the game. I, of course, will post another video after the game sometime this week to discuss what happens, win or lose. But all I have to say, go Bucks, and thank you for tuning in to the Carmen, Ohio Buckeye. Again, my name is Matt, and please like, share, and subscribe. It goes a long way. And everyone, have a great day. Go Bucks!